Welcome to Corney Barrow's Burgundy campaign. I'm here to give you a quick introduction to the Chablis region and its wines. So Chablis is part of the Burgundy wine region, but it's located about 60 miles northwest of the main Côte d'Or, beyond the Morvan Hills en route to Paris, around 10 miles east of the town of Auxerre. So it's significantly further north and cooler than the rest of Burgundy. In fact, it's actually closer to Champagne, both geographically and in climate, than it is to the rest of Burgundy. It lies on the edge of what's called the Paris Basin, which is based on what's called a Kimmeridgian clay soil, so called after the town of Kimmeridge in Dorset on our side of the channel, which is characterised by a seam of chalk among the clays, and that extends from Sancerre in the Loire Valley to the White Cliffs of Dover. Chablis gives grapes with higher acidity levels and a rather different flavour profile. The wines are typically more mineral, steely, or sometimes flinty. These are words often used to describe wines from Chablis. One of the key stylistic differentiators between Chablis and other white Burgundies is the use of oak. Most Chablis at village and Premier Cru level are unoaked, bringing the emphasis onto the purity of the fruit and the texture. But most Grand Cru Chablis have the ripeness and richness of fruit to permit vinification in oak. So these are a little bit different from the rest, and they can be absolutely exceptional, more akin perhaps to some of the wines of the Côte d'Or, the Pouligny's, the Meursaults. A quick word on the 2019 vintage. So it's quite an impressive vintage in the right hands. There is a lovely depth of flavour and there is great balance, but everything depends on the village and the site and the harvest date, and of course who the grower is. As usual, frost was a key challenge here in Chablis. It led to reduced yields and greater concentration afterwards. The frost season though this year started in early April, which is quite early, and there was a number of successive episodes which gave growers some sleepless nights. Vincent Dant, who's based in Milly within the Chablis appellation, who we work with, was extremely vigilant. So he lit a huge number of vineyard candles, the so-called bougies, to warm ambient temperatures in the vineyards, and he was largely successful in retaining the vast majority of his crop. But perhaps the driving factor of the 19 vintage in Chablis was the combination of heat and drought, and this is actually common to the rest of Burgundy also. But in Chablis, it was quite surprising. There was precious little rain and significant heat, up to 42 degrees centigrade in July. So it was a truly scorcho vintage if ever there was one. This did lead to great flavour concentration. Fortunately, a cooler August helped retain vital acidities, that backbone of Chablis that's just so important. I would urge you to try Vincent Dant's exceptional Chablis. We've been working with Vincent for a number of years, and I absolutely adore his wines. My favourite is always Côte de Léché, and this is made from a very old vineyard planted in the 40s by Vincent's grandfather, and the wines are just delicious. Vincent really is an exceptional grower, and wine runs in the blood. His style is subtle, fantastic purity, this gentle, creamy texture runs through all his wines, and you find in them this crushed seashell character of the appellation itself. Really worth a try. So a great vintage in the right hands.